Welcome to our exploration of the magical secrets design wizards use to conjure extraordinary results. Design wizardry is about knowing when and how to insert the magical something extra that creates the wow. This is a big topic, so I'd like to introduce our journey by deconstructing a notorious user experience failure. What about Microsoft Bob earned it the reputation of the worst user experience ever released by a major software company? Their crimes against cognition prove that there is more to design than just arranging things on a screen. I find it remarkable that the rules they broke back in 1995 are still errors that can ruin interfaces in today's designs. In the mid-1990s, computers were gaining widespread popularity. Computers now had color monitors and more pixels on the screen, although at best the monitors could handle similar amounts of information as modern smartphones. Every pixel had to matter. Apple's success was coming from their attention to details of user interface. The Apple desktop was basically a grid of icons to represent real-world objects such as folders and documents. You can see when they started to add colors, they went with a very subtle approach. Microsoft Windows used a similar format, but it was not as fluid an experience for the users. At this time, people loved the Mac, and then there were people who used Windows. What I call wizard design is about the magical underpinnings behind this type of dramatic difference. In 1989, Apple released Hypercard, illustrating how true interactivity could work. Today, it is hard to imagine that this constituted first-class wizard design. The structures that Hypercard introduced endure today. This screen is from Wild Things for Hypercard, the first toolkit for plugins. I created this and many other projects to help skeptics see the potential that I saw in multimedia. I've been a champion of wizard design for a very long time. For our discussion, just notice the minimalism required for the screen to work on these early computers. This sets the stage for 1995, when Microsoft set out to revolutionize the computer desktop. They aspired to replace Apple's functional icon grid desktop with something designed for fun, like Hypercard. And this is what they delivered. Users had a visceral hatred of this interface. Bob's goal had merit, so what went wrong? Microsoft promised a desktop to launch applications. The product designers created a cartoon-looking UI and designed lots of ways for users to customize the details of the room. The focus was on room design and not on how to launch applications on a computer. A product must allow users to accomplish the product promise. If they can't, you've made another Bob. Wireframes force stakeholders and designers to concentrate on structure and functionality. Sadly, most people get more excited over concept art than they do about reviewing wireframes. So this is a delicate dance for user experience designers. Most of the problems we will look at in this episode could have been prevented with a focus on wireframes. So what makes Bob so hard to use? Can you find how to launch their email application? Do you think the problem is that there's too many things on the screen? We can easily use screens with many more icons than what you see here in Bob. A complex background does not have to impede usability. It can be awful, or it can work well depending on how other factors are designed. Our brains can readily tell the difference between backgrounds and foregrounds. This is a life skill essential to navigating our 3D world. In art, we are still using 3D perspective just as it was when it was developed back in the Renaissance. In a minute, we will ponder how Bob mixed 2D medieval-style imagery with 3D perspective. In Bob, every item on the screen has equal weight in terms of scale, color, lighting, and position. Wizards use visual design to support the structure. On this Android screen, the icons stand out from the background. They are easy to identify despite so many items on the screen. Our brains are wired to handle a busy visual field. Here you can see that size, shapes, and layout are very consistent. The use of uniqueness is very strategic. A grid is a pattern. A pattern counts as one thing to our brains, not 24 separate icons. To make the pattern, the 24 buttons are the exact same size and shape and are arranged in precise coordinates on the screen. Out of alignment, the pattern is lost. When you look for the address book icon, you can quickly scan the screen to find an orange button that looks like a person. How long does it take to find the address book icon in Microsoft Bob? Art and design classes teach tons of rules about color harmony, proportion, placement, and how to focus attention or lead the eye. Done right, looking at aesthetically designed art makes us feel a little bit happier. These rules are the culmination of the best of art. Since the first cave drawings, there's always been art. This is a part of being human. A violation of these rules causes cognitive dissonance, which actually generates physical discomfort. Weird, but true. Too much dissonance is at the root of most anger and strong negative emotions. The strong negative reaction to Microsoft Bob comes from the numerous design elements that trigger cognitive dissonance. As I scan Bob's living room, I may wonder, is the computer overheating? It's awfully close to the fireplace. How would you comfortably write on that calendar? Invoking the senses is the fastest way to distract anyone from what they were doing. People get annoyed by unnecessary distractions. Distractions require effort to ignore when you're trying to complete a task. What about this dog is distracting? Why is he here? As with the movie, everything in a scene must have a purpose, or it detracts from the experience. The dog and his table are positioned differently, in a medieval way, to draw attention to the fact that there's something special about this dog. Any piece of art needs to be self-consistent. Whatever the style, if you break its unique rules of nature, you induce cognitive dissonance. But there's more. The dog has big eyes and a puzzled expression. He looks astonished. Our brains are wired to see faces. We are constantly reading expressions of others in case they are signaling potential danger. Every time the eye tracks to that corner of the screen, it will stop on a face. But there's not just the one face. There is another one, the dog tag with a big yellow smiley wearing Bill Gates glasses. So there are two faces that are monitored by the subconscious mind as our eyes scan the scene. Before Bob, Microsoft introduced a virtual assistant that preemptively appeared to tell you how to do things. Clippy the paperclip was unpopular because he was pushy and annoying. In Bob, Clippy was transfigured into a dog. Updating the art does not fix a functional problem. Look at the screen without the dog. With the dog, without the dog again. Distractions take energy and effort to ignore. Another day, we can discuss elements of visual design and style and its effect on user experience. What else? Do you think it would be easier to find the word processing program if the colors were less intense? What if only the icons are in color? Should we remove the windows from this Windows application? What if we just remove all the distractions from the screen? Now, with only the icons left, can you identify the last two issues? Bob has the icons strewn across the room like this is a treasure hunt game. For the eye to easily group random items, it needs to be able to find the icons in the first place. Now that I arranged Bob's icons into a grid, it is still not easy to find a specific icon. Our brains store basic visual images as archetypes. Archetypes are just basic elements necessary to identify a type of object. Children draw archetypes. Our minds tend to store image archetypes, much like what we see in this kid's drawing of a dolphin, a submarine, and fish. The archetype is a 2D, eye-level view without any perspective. Bob's icons are all different sizes, and they are rotated in space using the cartoon's perspective. Our brains need to unrotate the icon in order to compare it to our mind's archetype. The mental effort adds another layer of discomfort for the user. This is a deep topic I'll discuss another day. Compare Bob's icon model with the simplicity of the classic icon grid desktop. A grid is easy and versatile, so it has become a classic. The grid is not the only solution possible, but it takes serious design work and a reason to improve it. A design wizard knows when to continue with the accepted conventions and when it's time to innovate. Now you know how Microsoft Bob earned its reputation as an abomination using cognitive dissonance, distractions, and dubious design decisions. Best practices are supposed to protect designers from an epic fail. There's more to design than just knowing the rules. To see more magical secrets of wizard design, please like, share, and subscribe.